Hey, welcome back. Today, we're going to dig into something I think we have all felt. Why does our social energy just suddenly crash? We've all been there, but what if the reason has nothing to do with being an introvert and everything to do with having a high-efficiency brain? Let's get into it. Okay, so picture this. You're at a party, maybe a work event. You're actually having a good time, you're talking to people, and then, bam, out of nowhere, a switch just flips. You hit a wall. All of a sudden, making small talk feels like lifting 100 pounds. If that sounds even a little bit familiar, you are definitely in the right place. You know, we have all these labels for that feeling, right? We call it being an introvert or maybe social anxiety. But what if that's not the whole story? What if it's actually a sign that you have a high-efficiency brain that's experiencing something called communication fatigue? All right, so first up, let's tackle what we're going to call the social burnout myth. This is all about getting to the bottom of that feeling of being completely and utterly peopled out. And let's be really clear about this. This has nothing to do with being antisocial or disliking people. You can absolutely adore the people you're with and still feel completely drained. This is a cognitive thing, not an emotional choice. It's your brain, which is kind of like this biological supercomputer, just hitting its processing limit for the day. So if it isn't some kind of personality flaw, then what in the world is going on? Well, it turns out the real reason for that drain might actually be a feature, not a bug, of having a different kind of brain. And that really is the key question here, isn't it? What if the exhaustion isn't from the social interaction itself, but from the sheer intensity with which your brain is analyzing everything? Like, what if you're not running out of people skills, you're just running out of cognitive bandwidth? This is where we get to this really key term, communication fatigue. See, it's not about how many hours you've been talking. It's all about the massive volume and the crazy complexity of the data your brain is processing. Every little glance, every shift in tone, every unspoken social cue, your brain is crunching all of that in real time. It's like a supercomputer running thousands of calculations at once. So you're probably wondering, how does this actually work? Well, it all comes down to the mechanics of a brain that's basically running on overdrive. It's what we can call a speed and depth difference. It seems that some brains are just wired differently. They process social info not just faster, but way deeper. They're not just hearing the words you're saying. No, they're analyzing the subtext, they're connecting it all to past conversations, they're running multiple predictive scenarios in their head all at the same time. Here's a good way to think about it. A high-efficiency brain, it's like a computer with a top-of-the-line processor. It's absorbing way more data every single second. It's making more connections between ideas almost instantly. It's analyzing everything, the words, the body language, the emotional tone, all at once. Now that's incredibly powerful, but it also means it reaches its cognitive capacity, its RAM limit, so much faster. So, okay, if your brain hits overload way faster, what's the fix? What do? Well, that's where solitude comes in. But here's the twist. It's not just about hiding out. It's actually an active and totally essential reboot process for your brain. And this idea, it completely flips the script on what it means to be alone, right? We usually think of solitude as running away from people, but the reality is, solitude is when your brain finally gets the quiet it needs to get to work, sorting, filing, and making sense of all the complex data it just downloaded. And get this, there's actually a specific neurological system built for exactly this job. It's called the default mode network, or DMN for short. Think of it like your brain's internal IT department or cleanup crew. When you stop taking in all that new information and just let your mind wander, the DMN fires up and basically tidies up your mental workspace. So what does this whole reboot process actually look like in practice? Well, first, you have to disengage from that constant flood of outside noise. That's basically the signal for your default mode network to clock in and get to work, consolidating and organizing all that social data. And the end result? Your cognitive energy gets restored, and you're ready to engage with the world again. All right, so we've busted the myth, we've looked at the science, we've walked through the reboot process. Now for what is maybe the most important part. What does all this actually mean for you and how you can start embracing your own cognitive style? Listen, if there's one thing you take away from this, let it be this. Your need to pull back and recharge is not a social flaw. It is not something to feel guilty about. It is a fundamental feature of your brain's unique operating system. It's actually a sign that your brain is doing its job incredibly well, processing the world with amazing speed and depth. So you see, this isn't about avoiding people at all. It's about learning to be a really good manager of your own really powerful cognitive energy. It's about being intentional and scheduling in that essential reboot time so you can show up as your best, most engaged self when you really want to. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. Now that you have this new way of looking at your social energy, what are you going to do? How are you going to honor your brain's need to reboot? How will you build in that quiet time to let your default mode network do its vital work? Thanks so much for tuning in.